Hello, my companions. This is Earl Purdy. I want to welcome you to a course in miracles, which is a course in right thinking, a course in looking at things in a brand new way so that you won't lose your mind, so you still be able to have some peace in your experience. And that's what we're going to be talking about online. So I want to welcome you, welcome my millions of people in front of me in person. And just absolutely express my gratitude for you and my gratitude for you being here. And just remember, you don't have to believe the ideas. You don't have to accept the ideas. You don't have to welcome them, believe them, accept them. What the Course in Miracles says is that if we use these ideas, we'll see that these ideas are true. Make sure I'm all off to the side. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Yeah. So we're going to be on lesson 55 in the Course in Miracles workbook, and it's lesson 90. It's on page, it's going to be on page 90, lesson 55 on page 90 in the Course in Miracles workbook. And what we're going to focus in on more than anything is the practical application of the ideas. That's what we want. We want the practical application of the ideas. And so I'm going to go through each one of these, and we're going to go through it together, and we're going to see how we can apply it to the situations and circumstances that we are experiencing in our life right now. Because if we can't get a practical application of the ideas, then what good is it? If I can't use this in my everyday life, what good is it? If you can't use this in your everyday life to deal with the problems and the situations and the things that you think you're dealing with in your everyday life, then this is hardly worth focusing in on. So if you can hear me online and you can hear me okay, would you send me some heart emojis? I want to make sure that you can hear me. So if you can hear me, send me a couple of heart emojis right now so that I'll know that you can hear me while I'm talking to you right now. Send some kind of emoji. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. So we're going to start out with the thought number one that we're going to work with today is going to be, we got 5 thoughts that we're working with. And the first thought that we're working with is, I am determined to see things differently. We're on page 90 in the workbook. I am determined to see things differently. I am determined to see things differently. You are determined to see things differently. Think about a situation, think about a circumstance, think about a person. Tell yourself you are determined to see things differently. You're determined to see things differently. And the next one is pretty intense. And that's, what I see is a form of vengeance. What I see is a form of vengeance. What you see is a form of vengeance. That's pretty intense. So we're going to talk about that idea from A Course in Miracles. The next idea that's part of the review in lesson 55 is we're going to review lesson 23, which is I can escape from the world by giving up attack thoughts. I can escape from this world by giving up attack thoughts. You can escape this world by giving up attack thoughts. You can escape this world by giving up attack thoughts. The next thought from the Course in Miracles, the next idea that we are reviewing is, I do not perceive my own best interest. You do not perceive your own best interest. What? You do not perceive your own best interest. And the next thought that we are dealing with is, I do not know what anything is for. I do not know what anything is for. You do not know what anything is for. So if you have your Course in Miracles books, we're going to be on lesson 55. It's in the blue book. It's on page 90. And so let's go through every one of these ideas. And one of the main things that I want to do is share how we can apply these ideas to whatever situation that we're dealing with right now. So what we're talking about first is I am determined to see things differently. You might want to say that to yourself silently right now. I am determined to see things differently. I am determined to see things differently. I am determined to see things differently. Then the chorus says, what I see now are but signs of disease, disaster, and death. Now, that doesn't sound very optimistic when you hear that, but it's the friggin' truth. It's like if you turn on the news, if you focus in on world events and you focus in on things that are happening in the world, then it does seem like there are some people that have disease, and disease is being dealt with. There seems like there's disasters, whether it's tornadoes, whether it's storms. It seems like that. My Course in Miracles class is not for people who think being positive is being in denial about what you experience. So I'm going to warn you right now. I'm not going to be talking from a level other than the level that we are dealing with in the world. And if you say you're in this world and you say there is no such thing as diseases and it doesn't seem like there's disasters and it doesn't seem like there's death, you're totally innocent, but you're totally in denial. Okay? And so what does the Course say? Now that's the cool part is what the Course says right after this. This cannot be what God created for his beloved son, which is the same as saying disease, disaster, and death can't be what God created for us. Love doesn't create, and God doesn't create disease, disaster, and death. So the very fact that we can even see disease, disaster, or death, what does the Course say? That's the proof that I don't understand God. So rather than debating whether or not we see disease, disaster, and death, what we want to focus on is God did not create this. God did not create the disease. God did not create the disaster. God did not create, our Creator is not creating the disease, the death, and the disaster. The mind is going to say, well, what's creating it? The point that the Course is trying to make is for us to recognize or at least hear that our Creator didn't create it. That's the main point. That if I'm seeing those things, I need to tell myself love wouldn't create those things. God wouldn't create those things. The Creator is not creating the disease. The Creator is not creating the disaster. The Creator is not creating the death. And the very fact that we see it, see what? The fact that we see disease, disaster, or death, the Course says that that very fact that we see such things is proof that we don't understand God. So if we don't understand God, then he said we also don't understand ourselves. We are the Son. We are the creation. So the truth is, if I don't understand my Creator, if I don't understand love, I don't understand myself, because I am love. You are love. You are spirit. I'm spirit. So if I don't understand spirit and I don't understand spiritual things, then I don't understand myself. So what I love you, the Course says, those of you following along, really do that, because I want to help people study the Course. I want to help people through their journey of the Course. So you sincere Course in Miracles students, get your friggin' book out and follow along with me, okay? You're totally innocent if you don't, but the Course, one of the things the Course says is, how can you say you want something but you don't want the means to get it? How can I say I want the peace and the miracles that the Course in Miracles promises, but I'm not going to use the Course in Miracles to get it? And how am I going to use the Course in Miracles to get it if I don't read the Course in Miracles, if I don't study it, if I don't listen to what it's saying? So the Course just tells you, what I see tells me that I do not know who I am. So I want you to say that to yourself silently. I don't know who I am. Why don't I know who I am? Because I don't really know what God is. And since I don't know what God is, I think sometimes that God created the disease or the disaster or death. And the Course is saying, you all see that, but that's not coming from God. That's not coming from love. And what you are seeing is showing you that you don't know who you are. So then it says, well, what do you want me to do, Spirit? And then the Course says, what I want you to do is I want you to be determined. Determined to what? I want you to be determined to see the witnesses to the truth in you. I want you to say, okay, this book keeps telling me that I'm a spiritual being, I'm a loving being, I'm an innocent being. And I'm seeing stuff other than that. And sometimes I don't feel so innocent. Sometimes I don't feel so loving. Sometimes I feel guilty. So that means that I don't really know who I am. So what do I need to do? Well, the Course says what you need to do is to be determined to see the witnesses to the truth in you rather than the witnesses that show you an illusion of yourself. Okay, so if I'm a person and I'm insecure and I'm fearful and I think I'm separate and I think I'm depressed and I think I'm angry, then that's not who I am based on what I've heard. What I've heard is that I'm this unlimited spiritual being that's full of light and joy and peace and love. That's what this book in my spiritual path is telling me, which means that I must not know who I really am. And so I need to see some witnesses that validate to me that the truth, which is that I am innocent, that I am loved. I need to be able to look out and see a world that's not full of disease, disaster, and death. I need to see who I really am because I don't know who I really am. If you're telling me who I really am is this spiritual being that's all loving and only love and only light and only joy and only peace, that loves everything and everybody, who in the heck are you talking about? Because I don't experience myself like that all the time. So the Course says, well, what you have to do then is be determined to see things differently. I just need to get determined that I'm going to see myself differently, and I'm going to get determined that I'm going to see the world differently, and I'm going to be determined that I'm going to see all of this differently. So that's idea number one, that if you really have anything that you see in your experience right now that you perceive as negative or fearful, know that that's not what your Creator created for you. Know that the fact that you're even seeing that means you don't understand what the truth is, and that means you don't know what you are, because you are truth, you are love. So what do? Then people say, well, what do I do about that? Well, the Course says what you do is you become determined that you're going to see things differently. What do? I become absolutely determined I'm going to see my mother differently. I become absolutely determined I'm going to see my job differently. I'm going to see my boss differently. I'm going to see AI differently. I'm going to see the political situation differently. I'm going to see the weather differently. What are we going to do, gang? We're going to be determined to see things differently. Okay, that's the first idea. Now,
is that the same as replacing grievances with miracles?
What'd you say?
Is that the same as creating
replacing
grievances with miracles?
Right,
is that
right.
The same concept?
That's the same concept.
Okay.
When you say let me replace grievances with miracles, then you're basically saying let me exchange the world that I'm perceiving in terms of disease, disaster, and death. Let me see that instead of what I'm seeing right now. I'm determined to see it differently. See, it's like me wanting the person to change in my life, but me not be determined to see them differently. I'm having a problem with my father. Every time I see my father, I get upset. Okay, well then you need to be determined that you want to see your father differently. Because first of all, if I'm feeling that way about him, I should want to see it differently. Because if I keep the grievance, that's going to block my miracles. That's going to block my peace. That's what I'm going to block my joy. I was telling somebody just the other day when I was counseling with them, when I bring up the idea of forgiveness, I always tell people when I talk about forgiveness, the Course isn't talking about overlooking what you think somebody did to you. That's not the Course in Miracles definition of forgiveness. The Course in Miracles definition of forgiveness is your willingness to see them differently, your willingness to correct your perception, your willingness to learn how to look at this another way so that you won't be feeling bad all the time. And so that you won't be feeling angry all the time. Do it for you. Mm-hmm. Do it for you. It's not about I'm letting somebody else. They already off the hook. What? They already off the hook. You're not doing nothing to them. There's nothing that you're doing really except being upset with them. So you're actually undoing anything that you're to the person that you're upset about. You all relate to what I'm saying? If you're upset with somebody and all you're doing is feeling upset about it and you're just angry about it and you dwell on it, do you know that that's not having 1 ounce of effect on the person that you got the grievance toward? They don't even know you're denying yourself joy, thinking that that's your way of dealing with them. And the truth is, you must not understand yourself because you're not feeling peace right now, and you don't understand God because you're not feeling peace right now. So then you go, well, what do I do? You become determined to see things differently. I become determined to see that person differently. So when I go through the course, I fill in the blank, and I fill in the people and situations that I'm having issues with in my life, and apply the course to those people and to those issues. But I do it just like I'm doing with you right now. Okay, the truth is, what I'm seeing right now, which isn't love and peace all the time, is telling me that I don't know who I am. So I'm determined to see the witnesses to the truth of who I am, rather than to the illusion or the false idea of who I am. So what's the next idea? What I see is what? A form of vengeance. Oh, that's really deep. A lot of this stuff I'm going to tell you the answer to, but your own particular study is going to bring you into the full realization of it. That doesn't sound positive when I hear what I see is a form of vengeance. So why is that so? Well, the Course says, the world you see is hardly the representation of loving thoughts. So a world of fear and a world of conflict is not representing loving thoughts. What we're looking at right now does not represent the truth. What we're looking at in the world right now does not represent the truth. So what are you seeing if you're seeing a world where there's disease or disaster or attack or people not loving each other or people attacking each other, a world that there's war in? The Course is saying what you're looking at is a picture of attack. You're not really seeing a representation of love. You're seeing a representation of fear. You're seeing a representation of attack on everything by everything. So it's so funny. At first it seems so intense when you first studied the Course, because when you first hear it, to me, it kind of blows your mind because it's so honest. Like, what you all are really looking at is a picture. And it's a picture of attack on everything by everything. Everybody's trying to change, pretty much everybody's trying to change everybody, and people are pretty much blaming everybody and attacking everybody and saying anything other than that person and everybody is love. I'm not talking about everybody and everything being love. What I'm seeing right now is an attack on everything by everything. So it's anything but the reflection of the love of God. So what do I want to tell myself as a Course student? Well, whenever I'm seeing attack and anger and grievances, what I'm looking at is a picture of attack. That's a call for love. But what I'm not doing is I'm not seeing a reflection of the unconditional love of our Creator. I'm not seeing a reflection of unconditional love. I'm not seeing a reflection of unconditional love, which is the kind of love the Course says our Creator gives us is unconditional love. And it's a love that will be there for us and support us and guide us and take care of us, regardless of how we act, regardless of what we believe. You can't do anything so horrible that love would not help you, heal you, counsel you, try to be there for you. There is nothing anyone can do to lose the love of the Creator. The Course says that has got to become your core belief. That no matter what you do, I don't care how dastardly you think it is or how angelic you think it is, God would never condemn you. Your Creator would never condemn you. Your Creator would always heal you. It would always forgive you, would always love you. So when I first started getting into this stuff, I was like going, okay, I like that idea of being forgiven and loved and no matter what I do. My problem is the other folk. I think it's the other folk don't need to be getting away with what they're doing. There's a few people that I think that they don't need to be forgiven for the thing. You know, people always throw up Hitler or something. They always go to the extreme example. Look, God, the Course, there's a lesson in the Course in Miracles that says God is the love in which I forgive. Right. And so that's what I do with people. I might not be able to forgive you right now, but God is the love in which I forgive. So it's not saying you have the capacity to forgive what you think of as Hitler or somebody else. It's saying there's a love that is so much greater than anything you can do at your ego level, that let that part deal with whatever that soul was called Hitler. And what you need to do is learn how to accept this truth for yourself. You're not here to figure out what God is going to do with everybody else that you don't like. The Course is telling us you want to get out of the world that you see that has disease, disaster, and death. And the first thing you do in order to do that is to tell yourself, I'm determined to see things differently. Then you go to, what's the next one? What I see is what? A form of vengeance. And then it says that when you're looking at the world, you're not seeing the representation of loving thoughts. You're seeing the picture of attack on everything or fear of everything on everything. So what you're looking at is anything but a reflection of the love of God. And what you're looking at is anything but a reflection of God's love for you, God's child. If you're seeing fear and attack, you're not seeing a reflection of love. That's so simple that sometimes it's hard for me to get this. If I'm seeing attack, I'm not seeing peace. If I'm seeing guilt, I'm not seeing innocence. If I'm seeing lack, I'm not seeing abundance. If I'm seeing sickness, I'm not seeing health. And so what do? Well, first you have to realize what is giving you this picture. What is it that's giving you this perception of fear? Well, the Course says it. What's giving you this picture is what? My own attack thoughts, my own thoughts of anger, my own thoughts of separation, my own thoughts of fear. That's what's giving me the picture that's anything other than love in my life. So if I'm seeing anything other than love in my life, what I'm seeing other than love, where is it coming from? My own attack thoughts, my own ego thoughts. When I'm seeing anything but peace and love, what am I seeing? My own thoughts, my own ego thoughts, my own attack thoughts. So what do? How do you get out of this perception of fear? How do you get out of the perception of attack? It tells you in the very next sentence, my loving thoughts will save me. What? My loving thoughts will save me. You mean I don't have to try to control everybody else and make sure that they become more loving in order for me to have a loving, peaceful world? You mean if I want my world not to reflect attack and anger and guilt and fear, then all I have to do is tell myself those thoughts are coming from my mind, and then tell myself that I just need to have some loving thoughts myself. And when I have loving, true thoughts myself, then that's what's going to save me from all this perception of fear and attack and disease and all the separation and misperception that I'm seeing. Are you telling me if I actually change my thoughts, if I actually allow Spirit to give me the loving thoughts, then I would no longer see that? Can you all figure out how that could even happen?
No.
Okay. I'm glad you said no, because you're not supposed to try to figure out how it's going to happen. Your understanding is not a powerful contribution to the truth of what I'm saying. Your understanding and agreeing with what the Course is saying has nothing to do with whether it will do what it says it will do. You want to make your journey through the Course easy? I'll say it one more time. Your understanding doesn't have anything to do with whether or not what the Course is teaching will work. So what did it just tell me? It just told me that my loving thoughts will save me from this perception of the world that's full of attack and fear. And my loving thoughts will give me the peace God intended me to have. My loving thoughts will give me the peace that love and my Creator intended me to have. If you're studying the Course in Miracles and you want to have a modern language version of A Course in Miracles, all you have to do is substitute love or fear. Just love. For instance, my loving thoughts will save me from this perception of the world. What perception? The perception of attack thoughts and fear thoughts. And my loving thoughts will save me from this perception of the world and give me the peace. Instead of saying God, you could say, and give me the peace love intended me to have. Because what the Course in Miracles is doing is teaching us the difference between love and fear. It's teaching us the difference between, it's like saying, This is what real love does. Just like a minute ago, we'll go, well, I'm sorry, but love would never give you a world that's full of disease, disaster, and death. Then the chorus goes, then your mind goes, well, where did it come from? It came from your own thoughts. What you all are seeing that's happening in the world is coming from the thoughts of the beings in the world. How much peace you have in this world is going to come from your loving thoughts. That's what's going to save you from this perception of fear and conflict. And that's what's going to give you the peace that love really wants you to have. So in that paragraph, we just got the whole book. We just check it out. I mean, we really did. We got what I see is hardly the representation. What I see is hardly, oh, you busy today, ego. You're just a little busy boy today. You have just been on it. I must really have some cool stuff that I need to hear. Because my technology has been going insane because I have been experiencing so many revelations from Spirit about what the Course is teaching at a brand new level. And what's blowing my mind is I saw that I was deliberately deceiving myself and making sure that I didn't hear what the Course was saying so that I wouldn't give myself the peace that is promising me because I didn't think I really deserved it. And some part of me thinks I need to be punished and that I don't deserve to be totally happy. So every time it gives me an answer to how I could get out of my conflict, then I don't pay any attention to it or hear it, because if I heard the answer, then I would do what it was saying and then I would get the result, and then I would have a much better, easier life. But guess what? There's a part of me that doesn't think I deserve it. There's a part of me that doesn't believe I deserve love. But do you know, you have a part of you that believes you do, and the part of you that believes you do deserve love is the part of you that brought you to the class to hear that you deserve love, and also giving you the reason why you see disease, disaster, anger, or upset in your life. And it's saying to us, well, if you want to no longer see that, then what you're going to have to do is what? You're going to have to start getting in touch with the loving thoughts that's in your mind. Then the mind goes, well, how do I do that? I don't know how to do that. Well, that's why you have a teacher. The teacher is called the Holy Spirit, your higher self. It's going to teach you how to get rid of those thoughts that keep you from seeing a world that's full of abundance for you, because you're the one that made the world that's not giving you the peace that you want. So you're not going to be the one that gets you out of the world that's not giving you any peace, because you're the one that put yourself in that relationship. And the way for you to get out of that relationship that's causing you pain is to let go of your own thoughts of attack and learn how to see the reflections of love, but our higher self knows that we can't do that by ourselves, so it gives us a series of instructions that would allow us to change our thoughts so that we could see the new world that it's talking about. Everybody with me on that? And if you'll notice what's happening, it's happening step by step. That's why I'm going through this, because one of the biggest illusions about the Course in Miracles is that it's complex. It's not complex, because what it does is it explains what it's saying as it says it. So you don't ever have to back off the Course and go, well, what does that mean? The next sentence is going to tell you what it means. Let me give you an example. He says, the world I see is hardly the representation. The world I see, my Kindle keeps jumping ahead. The world I see is a form of vengeance. So the world I see is hardly the representation of loving thoughts. So now check that, just take that sentence. Then what does the next sentence say? Well, what you're seeing is a picture of attack on everything by everything. You would call it us being mad or upset with each other, not seeing each other lovingly, right? Then it goes, well, a world that's full of attack and fear is anything but a reflection of the love of God and the love of God's creation, which is God's Son. So what I do is I tell the truth. The truth is, what I'm feeling right now toward my friend who I'm having a disagreement with, I'm feeling anything for them but a reflection of love. I'm not feeling love for you right now. See, if I was in a relationship, I would tell my partner if I got upset, you know, I'm not feeling peace right now about you right now, and I hope I'm wrong about what I'm telling myself about you, because what I'm feeling right now is not a reflection of love. What I'm feeling is anger and fear and my own attack thoughts. So therefore, it's giving me a picture of you that I don't like. My anger thoughts are giving me a picture of you that I don't like. So how do I get out of it? Well, it says, well, my loving thoughts will save me from this perception. Notice it didn't say, let me pounce on that other person to get them to be different in order for me to be happy. So, oh, you want to get out of the anger that you're feeling towards your kids? Well, that's going to come from your loving thoughts saving you from this perception of the world. It's going to be your loving thoughts that's going to give you that peace with your child that God intended you to have. Yeah, you see what I'm doing? I'm taking the course and I'm applying it very practically to the specific situations that I'm dealing with. Don't keep the course abstract. Abstract is, I want to love everybody. Specific is, I really want to love my family. I really want to love my dog. I really want to love, you see what I'm saying? Get specific. When you talk general, you'll fool yourself into thinking you're more loving than you are. Or even you think you're more angry. You say, I'm mad at everybody, and then you get specific, and all of a sudden you go, wait a minute, I'm not actually mad at everybody. See, the minute you take it down to a specific, that's when applying the truth becomes the most powerful. Not generalities. Because I see truth students say it all the time. I love everybody, and then 5 minutes later tell you that they haven't talked to a brother or a sister for 15 years because of some grievance they got. Right after saying I love everybody. So the Course is telling us that we can escape from this world by giving up attack thoughts. Now let me tell you two things about that. There's a section of the Course in the workbook that's called What is the World? And you know what it says the world is? The very first sentence, it says the world is false perception. So the Course in Miracles definition of the world is false perception. Perception is not reflecting the love of God. Perception is not reflecting peace, okay? So when the Course says seeing it in your world, it's talking about us seeing the false perceptions. I'm seeing guilt. I'm not seeing total innocence. I'm not seeing total love. I'm seeing some fear out here. And the Course is saying the first thing I want you to know is what you're seeing is a false perception. You're looking at a false perception. Okay, let's take it deeper. The Course says a perception is the same as an interpretation. So when you say you're perceiving something, it's really what you're seeing is what? Your interpretation of it. Everybody follow me on that? So perception is interpretation. So the Course is saying what you think you're seeing is fear and attack. That's a false interpretation. That's not the true interpretation. So you need the true interpretation, which the Course calls a correct perception. So when the Course says correct perception, it's saying you need to have a new interpretation of your mama. You need to have a new interpretation of your body. You need to have a new interpretation of your financial situation. You need a new interpretation of relationship, right? And then the mind will go, let me come up with that interpretation. That's the Course says that the last thing you need to do is for you to come up with the new interpretation that you're going to use. That's what the Holy Spirit is for. That's what the Course is for. It's to give you another interpretation of what you're looking at. That's not your job to come up with. You are upset because of your interpretation. It's your interpretation that got you upset. Why? Because it's yours. And so the book says, okay, then if you want to have the peace of God, then you need to know that it's going to be your truth interpretations and your love interpretations that's going to save you. But check it out. What are you being saved from? A perception. That's what's so deep. I need to save you from the way you see things, Joker. The way you see things is jamming you up. And then I've had people say to me, well, I don't have attack thoughts. Let me tell you something. When people tend to hear that they don't have attack thoughts, they think that we're necessarily talking about your desire to attack somebody. That's the first thing that comes to the mind. I don't have attack thoughts. I don't have any desire to attack. But of course, in Miracles teaches that the belief that you can be attacked is an attack thought, because that's a thought of attack, even if it seems like it could happen by someone else's hand. So what other ways you can see that? I don't trust anybody. Well, that's me believing I can be hurt or attacked by someone else. So, and then if my perception is that I could be hurt or attacked by someone, and it's my perceptions that's showing me the world I see, then I'm going to be walking the world with the fear that I could be attacked. And that is an attack thought. And then the person gets shocked when they have an experience of attack, and they don't know that's a reflection of their own thought that they could be attacked. Because if they really knew who they really were, which is love, you would not attract any form of attack. You would not even attract any form of harm. You would need police people. The other day, I had a knock on the door at my apartment. I don't know about you, but it's kind of jarring when you go to the door and you open it up and there's 2 police officers standing there. It's just something about that just doesn't tend to make one just feel instant peace. You know what I'm saying? But I have this perception that I'm going to project loving thoughts on anyone that I have programmed myself to think is a danger to me. And when you're in a black body, it's real easy to believe that police are a danger to you. The next time you come, you might try a black body, see what you think about it. Okay. Because I was showing out when I went to the body store before I was born, and I'm gonna come black. I'm gonna come back with a black body in the 1950s doing segregation. How about that? You know. I was trying to be real special. And you jokers were right. Y'all were right there with me. Y'all was like sniggling. You know what I'm saying? You know, sniggering, you know, okay, I see you. That's the body you're going to put on? Okay. Well, if you allow yourself to have loving thoughts, and it doesn't matter what color body you got, you're going to see an experience that's a reflection of the love of God. So as soon as I opened the door, I went to that desire to see that person from a perspective of love. And I couldn't have asked for more nice, kind, friendly police officers that you could ever imagine. There was a white female and a white male. And they were trying to get some information about something because somebody had reported something and they wanted to know if I had heard anything, right? So when I walked to the door, all of my learning and perception of them, I could have projected it on them, and then I would have been coming from another place of anger and fear or attack. You see what I'm saying? So my piece with the police officers had nothing to do with them. It had to do with my willingness and my determination to what? See them differently. Because what? Well, I could have seen them as a form of vengeance. I could have seen them as someone that I could experience some kind of a pain with or a problem with. You follow what I'm saying? Because I was determined not to see them that way, and I have control over how I interpret things, then I didn't have to see them that way, no matter what they were doing, right? So of course, so when it says what I see as a form of vengeance, it's saying if you're looking at a world that you're full of fear, then you're looking at the world as if, in a sense, it's punishing you and it's taking vengeance. I'm afraid of life and I'm afraid of what people might do to me is another way of saying that I believe in vengeance. I don't know it. Okay, I'm going to tell you something else. You don't have to believe it, all right? Something can be true even if you don't believe it. It could be true even if you don't believe it. So what do you think a person who didn't love themselves and they hated themselves or they had a lot of insecurities and fears and they thought they needed to be punished because they felt guilty? Well, would that person at some level be asking for some form of punishment and some form of attack? So in a sense, they're taking vengeance on themselves. I did something to hurt me. I want to take vengeance. Sometimes my ego wants to take vengeance on what other people seem like they're doing to me. But what the Course is saying, you don't even realize you're taking that same attitude towards yourself. When you do something that hurts you, you want to take vengeance on yourself. And then it goes, then it says, that's what you're looking at. When you're looking at attack, you're looking at a form of vengeance on yourself. How do I get out of it? My loving thoughts will save me from this perception or interpretation of the world and give me the peace love intended me to have. Okay, so then you go, okay, I'm with you. I'm with you, Purdy. I'm with you with the Course in Miracles. So what's the next step? Well, you need to tell yourself you can escape from the world, this world, what world? This false perception of fear, this false perception of attack. I can escape from it by giving up what? Attack thoughts. Giving up, what an attack thought is what? A fear thought, a separation thought, a lack thought, a sickness thought. These are all what the Course would call attack thoughts. So I had to give up my thoughts about police in order for me to have peace with the police being at my door. I had to give up any thoughts that I had based on the past of what I might experience as a black person with a white policeman at the door. I had to give up the thoughts that I had in order for me to have peace about them being at the door. So since that's something I've been working on for a while, then I got a very peaceful interaction, which let me know that I was actually practicing what I was taught. How can I know that I was actually seeing them differently? Because I saw a reflection of peace coming back to me, and the only way that reflection of peace could be coming back to me is I had to be having a perception of peace within my mind. Notice that my experience had nothing to do with the police or anything or anybody else. And the more you study the Course in Miracles, you're going to realize that 99% of the solutions that it gives has nothing to do with you talking to anybody else or trying to get anybody else involved in the healing. For me to forgive you, I do not have to go to lunch with you, sit down with you, and get you to say, I'm worthy of the forgiveness that I'm asking you. Because you would probably be the last one that would want to do it because you believe you're upset with me. So you're the last one that actually I'd be going to recognize my innocence before I can feel good about myself. That's crazy to me. But the world presents it like I can't have any peace till you forgive me if I think I've done something wrong. So now my peace is in your hands. I can't have peace until you think I deserve to have peace. So that's why he's saying, come up with, we're going to give you through the Course a change of your thoughts. For instance, let's say I wanted to forgive them and they weren't ready to forgive me. I'm in control of how I see you, so how I see you is going to affect how I feel. So I could look at you with a correct interpretation. What would that be? Well, whatever happened between us was just a big call for love and a big misperception, and we're not seeing something correctly about each other. So let's make the decision that we really want to have peace and we want to let go of the grievance. Okay, I say I want to do that. The other person said, I'm not ready to let this go. Well, that still doesn't stop me from having let it go. So I have forgiven you. You can forgive me whenever you get ready, but I ain't waiting around for you to forgive me. I'm going to go on with my life and have a good time. And when you decide that you're ready to stop punishing yourself and taking vengeance on yourself, because you're taking vengeance on yourself, I'm not feeling your pain. So you're taking vengeance on yourself. So you think you're doing the smart thing. You're really doing the dumbest thing you could possibly do. You already don't like me and you beating yourself up about it. That's like a double stupid. Right? Think about it.
Yeah.
Think about it. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. You're feeling it. And you're proud that you're keeping the grievance going. You're proud that you're killing your body. You're proud that you're giving yourself a disease. You're proud that you're giving yourself lack. You're proud that because that's what you're doing. You're taking vengeance out on yourself. And then it's reflected back to you through the things that seem to happen to you in the world. And you something you're about to ask me a minute ago.
Yeah, so I comment on that is when you can, I've had to do that before and it's very freeing.
It's very freeing.
But I have a question. How do you then, okay, so I get the people thing. I get that. But how do you change your thoughts if you have an illness or you're in physical pain?
Well, that's what the whole Course in Miracles is about. It's about teaching you how to do that. So whenever I get sick and whenever I get my body gets sick, first of all, I don't call my body me anymore. I just do it when I'm around people because I don't feel like getting all of the conversations that come up when you say you're not a body. See, I'm smart enough after all these years to act normal.
Yeah.
Until I'm around people that I can reveal who I am. Right? There's no need for me to say something. There's no need to tell my mama I'm not a body, I'm free when I know she's going to think I'm crazy. Right? That's your own ego having punishment, giving you punishment. So in looking at the situation, say it again, the last thing you said.
I just said, so in turning it on to like an illness or.
All right. Okay. Good. Great. Okay. All right. So then so what I do according to the course is the first thing I do is tell myself the truth about what the sickness is, which is lesson 136. He says that basically whenever you are sick, it's because you're trying to convince yourself that you're not what the course and what love is teaching you you are. Truth, love and truth is teaching you that you're a spiritual being and you're more than a physical body. So when the part of us that thinks it is a physical body, it gets offended by that. And it tries to convince us that that is not true, that we're not bodies. So what would be the best way to make you think that you must really be a body? It would be through some form of pleasure or some form of pain. Some form of pleasure or some form of pain. Why? Because when you feel pleasure, if you're giving me, like somebody gave me a back massage just the other day, and it felt really great, right? But it also, that pleasure was also convincing me that I was a body, because I'm feeling this pleasure, so this body must be me. Have I lost anybody? Okay, I got a toothache that's painful. Oh, I must be this body that has the toothache. Okay, you got me? Right. So sickness, lack, or anything that's keeping you unhappy is just a defense against accepting the truth of who you really are. This book is telling me I'm totally innocent. So there's going to be a part of my mind that's going to try to convince me that I'm guilty. And so it's going to focus on the things I need to feel guilty about. Well, that is a defense against the truth. It's something I'm doing to myself to try to convince myself that I'm not this loving person. That's what sickness is. It's a defense against the truth. It's the way to convince yourself that you must be separate and you must be physical. Because our spiritual identity is outside of the body and greater than the body. And the truth is we're using our body as a means of communicating and moving around in this realm. That's really what the body is. It's like a skin diver's outfit that we are wearing to walk around in the ocean of the world. But we now think we're the skin diving outfit. We've lost our friggin' minds, right? So now we think we are our bodies. Right. And then we could try to convince ourselves that we're separate and we're in our bodies through some form of pleasure, pain, or conflict. So sickness is a defense against the truth. So the Course says you get scared and then you decide to give yourself an experience that makes you feel like you're not this powerful child of God. But here's the trick, and this is the thing that gets everybody, and you need to remember this about all your family and friends and everybody you know. The Course in Miracles says we make decisions and then we make the decision to forget we made the decision so that it'll look like the thing is happening to us. I'll say it again. We are creators. We create through our thoughts. We are the ones that's creating and projecting everything we're experiencing in our life. It's coming from our own mind. It's coming from decisions that we are making. Then the person says, I don't remember making that decision to get sick. No, you don't remember it because you decided that you weren't going to remember that you made the decision. So it could look like the sickness just happened to you. But it's really a decision that you made because you were beginning to tap into the love in you or the spirit in you. And there was a part of you that became afraid and threatened by this truth. And so that part of you called the ego is trying to convince you that all this loving stuff couldn't be true. And so that's why the Course says that's why you see in that world that you're looking at, because there's a part of you that's trying to convince yourself that it's the fear and the pain that's real. And this love that we're talking about, that's what's the stuff that's just some kind of a fantasy. That we could all love each other and we could all have peace here, and no matter what you're going through, it could be healed. That sounds like a fantasy. So the Course in Miracles says we got it exactly backwards. We believe in the fantasy and the fears and the separation and the upset. So when someone tells us that we could be experiencing unconditional love and that we are treasures and that we're valuable, that's the person that we become suspicious of. You know, there are people that can walk in and listen to what I'm saying about us being innocent and sinless and guiltless, and they would see me as misleading the people that is coming to listen to me because they believe we're all born in sin and we're imperfect and we're full of flaws. So the people that believe that, when they hear somebody say to people you're innocent and you're sinless, They think I'm the false prophet. I'm the one, because the truth is I am sinful. I am guilty. Now think about this. You think you're sinful and guilty, and so you distrust someone who tells you you deserve to be loved. If that's not screwed up thinking, I don't know what is. The person that tells me I deserve to go to hell and I'm sinful, I think that's the person that's telling me the truth, because that's how I feel about myself. And then the person that tells me I deserve only light, joy, peace, and happiness, well, I got to watch out for that. Earl, you know what he said? He said, I deserve love. He said, I deserve love. So he's got to be a false prophet. He said that I could be loved unconditionally. You follow me? And so that's why the Course then goes to the next thought, which is, I can escape. When you're reading the Course in Miracles, please, when you're reading the Course in Miracles, slow your ass down. Thank you very much. Slow down. It's not a magazine article. It's not a magazine you're reading. It's not a newspaper. It's a spiritual curriculum, which means it says itself, read me slowly. So let me show you what I mean. I can escape from what? This world. How? By giving up attack thoughts. Herein lies salvation. What do you mean, salvation? Here lies your escape from this world. That's salvation. Your escape from wrong-mindedness. The Course teaches that salvation means right-mindedness. That's one of the definitions. Another definition from the Course of salvation is forgiveness, is another word for salvation. Healing is another word for salvation. And my favorite definition that the Course gives for salvation is the escape from concepts. That we are here to learn how to escape from these false concepts that we have about ourselves. And it says the main false concept that we have is that we're separate from God. That the main false concept that keeps us in pain is we think we're separate from our Creator. We think we're out here on our own, having to try to do it by ourselves. That is the belief that ultimately causes all pain. So there's one more thing I want to say about sickness. So, if sickness is the result of me making a decision to go through pain to prove myself that I can't be this unlimited spiritual being, then how do I look at, and then, now I'm going to admit it's a decision that I made, that I forgot I made. So say that to yourself. This is a decision. Whatever the lack is, when we say sickness, we're talking about any form of lack of peace. So it's not just talking about money, not just talking about, it's talking about anything that you are not having peace about. The Course calls that sickness. Okay? So how do I deal with that? Well, it says the way that I deal with it is, number one, to remember that I'm the one that made the decision to go through this. Because the minute you take responsibility and you tell yourself you're doing it to yourself, that's when you're freed from that thing. You can be freed from anything that you assume responsibility for your experience of it. Because that's the truth. So the first thing you want to do is realize, oh, this is a defense against the truth. This is me trying to trick myself. So what I need to do is to really heal, is to change my thoughts. So that's now, what do I need to do in the world? Well, in the meantime, I might need to go to the doctor and see what the doctor says about what's going on in my back. Because right now, I believe more in the world than I believe in this spiritual truth that I'm hearing. So therefore, I need to, it's okay, the Course says, to temporarily go outside and use what you call external healing devices. That's what it calls it. So that's perfectly okay, because it's symbolic of your willingness to heal. It's symbolic of your willingness to be healed. See, that way you're not saying, okay, I need to heal myself, and then you could go to the doctor and maybe there was something that you would allow the doctor to give you that would look like it worked. That's the only thing that happens. Yeah. You go to the doctor, and if you are ready to let go of that pain at that particular moment, it will seem like the medicine that they gave you miraculously healed you. How do we know that's true? Because we know so many people that take what appears to be the same remedy and they don't necessarily get healed, right? That's because everything in the world is neutral. So since everything is neutral, some people are going to make the choice to still continue with that pain. And some people are going to make the choice that they are now want to be free of that pain. And so it's the decision of everybody that determines their own health or their own condition. So the Course is saying to us, so go ahead, go and do that, and see that it's symbolic of your willingness to be healed. And in the meantime, you continue to focus in on what the Course is teaching you and doing your lesson, because your peace is going to come from your loving, peaceful thoughts. So even though I have a backache, I could still have peace about having the backache. What? No, I thought peace meant I didn't have the backache at all. No. Peace is an attitude that I'm taking about what's going on in my body, because it's already told me that it's going to be my loving thoughts that's going to give me the perception of the world that God meant me to have. So he says it right here. The Course says it right here. Without attack thoughts, I cannot see a world of attack without attack thought. The Course reads in a circle. Watch this. I could not see a world of attack without attack thoughts. Without attack thoughts, I could not see a world of attack. Without attack thoughts, I could not see a world of. You could just do a substitution. Without fear thoughts, I could not see a world of fear. Without anger thoughts, I could not see a world of anger. Without sickness thoughts, I could not see a world of sickness. So as forgiveness, what does forgiveness do? Forgiveness allows love to return. Well, what is forgiveness? Correct perception.
Yeah.
What is correct perception? Perception is what? Interpretation. So what you're really saying is, as correct interpretation allows love to return. Where does love need to return, folk? To my awareness. I need to have, right now I'm aware of fear, so what do I need to return to my awareness? I need the awareness of love and peace to return, because what I'm right now is I'm aware of attack. I'm aware of fear. And so it says, as forgiveness allows love to return to my awareness, I will see a world of peace, a world of safety, a world of joy. So let me stop. Wait a minute. The Course in Miracles just told me how I could see a world of peace, safety, and joy. Didn't the Course in Miracles just tell me how I can see a world of peace, safety, and joy? Oh, how? As forgiveness allows love to return to my awareness. What is forgiveness? Another way of seeing things. What is forgiveness? A correct perception. See what I'm saying? He's saying, well, forgiveness, I've forgiven when I'm willing to use a loving perception that will allow me to see a world of peace, safety, and joy. Then it says, what's the next sentence? And it is this. What is this? When you're reading the Course, you see all those thems and thises and its. Try to always say out loud what that's referring to. Like, for instance, if it says, as forgiveness allows love to return to my awareness, forgiveness allows love to return to my awareness, what will happen? I will see a world of peace and safety and joy. And check that out. And then it says, and it is this. What is this? A world of peace and safety and joy that I choose to see. And check out the key word. Choose. See, I had to choose to see the police differently. I had to choose to see that pain that I was having in my back differently. And I didn't have to make up the way to see it, because the Course in Miracles is my spiritual path, and it's telling me the new interpretations that I need to use to change my mind that would allow me to see that world of peace. It's already saying it's coming from thoughts. So what I need is some new thoughts. But the trick is my ego, the part of me that wants to make me suffer, it'll say, let me tell you what the new thoughts should be, right? And so you go into trying to figure out how you're going to handle it, rather than saying what you're being told to say, which is what? I choose to say to myself that correct perception will allow love to return to my awareness. So me recognizing the truth right now. What is the truth? What you're studying right now. What is the truth? All those lessons. What is the truth? Everything that we're talking about today. So instead of saying I need, for instance, rather than me saying that the police at the door represented some form of attack or the danger of attack, all I had to do was remind myself that what I'm going to experience from them in terms of me internally is going to come from the kind of thoughts I have, and I'm choosing to have loving thoughts, and I'm choosing to have peaceful thoughts. And because that I did that, then I did experience safety, and I did experience joy, and I did experience peace. Because it's an internal matter, and it's not an external matter. So that's what we're hearing right now. It's saying to us, if you want to have that loving experience, you got to let love return to your awareness. And when you let love return to, or the truth, same thing, love, truth, same thing. When you let that return to your awareness, that's when you're going to see peace in that relationship. And don't say it doesn't work if you ain't done it. If you have not practiced this, and if you have not applied this, don't be sitting up there judging and saying that this couldn't possibly work. You haven't done it. So you're seeing the reflection of your beliefs right now. And you're right. According to your beliefs, that might not seem possible for you to have love. It might not seem possible because that's your thoughts. And then that's what the whole thing was saying. That's why you see the world of disease, disaster, and attack. It's because of your own friggin' thoughts of anger, fear, grievances, and separation. And all you have to do is allow yourself to be taught these new interpretations, which is what this is about. And then you would start to perceive more peace and safety in your experience. And the good news is I didn't have to talk to nobody else to do any of that. I didn't have to get anybody else's agreement. I didn't have to get anybody else's validation. I didn't have to get anyone else's opinion. That's why as you begin to wake up spiritually, you learn the power of silence, and you shut your butt up and you be quiet around people who don't recognize the truth, because you don't want to engage them in conversation, because you don't want to hear what they got to say. Because what they have to say is perpetuating the very fear, doubt, and distrust that you're trying to get away from. So you become quiet, and then you start to listen to the people that you're around for real for the first time. And then you're listening to see who's saying the things that more goes in the direction of love and peace and truth, and who are you listening to that's angry, projecting, blaming, still holding grievances, think they're just a body, and never talk about anything spiritual or ever act like there's any kind of higher power that they can turn to about anything. When you're listening to them, all they're talking about is how they can handle everything on their own, trying to figure it out, who they need to get to change, what needs to change in order for them to be happy. When you are listening to people like that, you're listening to people who still have the attack thoughts that you're trying to get away from. So you don't you don't do anything with them but remind yourself that they are experiencing the result of their attack thoughts. And that's why they're going through the things that they're going through. So now I've just used you to remind me of the truth, and you are now my savior, because you are teaching me how not to think. You're teaching me what not to do if I want to have peace, safety, and love. And notice, again, all of that's happened, but I hadn't engaged anybody else in the room around me. And what's going to start happening is you're going to start seeing the world become gradually more and more and more safe and peaceful and loving. It'll be almost like when you watch the TV or listen to the news, it's like you're hearing about something that's happening in another world than the one you live in. Because in your personal world, you're experiencing so much peace and love, and so you're looking at this, but you mustn't be fooled, because again, he says, all I'm seeing is the representation of my own attack thoughts. So I have to still recognize that any attack thoughts that I see anywhere is still a reflection of my attack thoughts, even if it looks like it has nothing to do with me.
Right.
Okay, let me finish it.
Okay.
And then the mind says that, what do I do? You do the exact same thing. You keep taking the truth, and you keep making the choice that you're going to, as much as you possibly can, take responsibility and say it's coming from your own mind, and also not attack anything or anybody else. Whether it's a gigantic problem or that involves many people, or it's an issue that just involves one person, you do exactly the same thing. You tell yourself, I'm determined to see things differently. You tell yourself, I can escape from this by giving up my attack thoughts. You escape from it by telling yourself, this is a form of vengeance. This is me trying to trick myself and trying to punish myself through having this perception. That's what you do. You tell yourself the same things and you go through the same process regardless of what seems to be the issue that you're dealing with. Whether it seems like it's a country or another person, I still would have to choose to give up my attack thoughts about it. Just like he's saying here, I want this to be replaced with the thoughts of love. How do I do that? I just tell myself what it's telling me to tell myself, because he's already said, if I didn't have fear thoughts and attack thoughts, I couldn't see a world of fear and a lack. So I see that right now. So instead of being in denial, I said, Earl, you full of attack thoughts, bro. You got some ego thoughts, bro. Why? Because I see it. Oh, bro, you got some loving thoughts too now, because you see you got this to be grateful for, that to be grateful for. You're seeing love over here. So those are your thoughts too. Those are your thoughts too. Are they good stuff? Those are your thoughts. But you see some stuff in your perception that you don't see as being, well, then those are your thoughts too. And then the mind says, well, how do I get rid of them? By doing the same process. By telling myself I'm determined to see it differently. By telling myself I can escape from this by giving up my own attack thoughts. By me reminding myself that this is a vengeance on me and I don't want to take vengeance on me. So what do I need to do? I need to tell myself what I'm seeing right now doesn't reflect the love of God. And I want to see the love of God. So then what do? As best as you possibly can, you try not to attack. And if you do, you forgive yourself. How do I forgive myself? I need a new interpretation of me going off, right? Well, that's me trying to take vengeance on myself. That's why I'm attacking. But that's also a call for help. That's also me saying to y'all, something's wrong. I need some help. I'm afraid. I need help. I'm afraid. That's what all the violence in the world is. That's what the disease in the world is. That's where all the conflict is coming from. It's coming from fear and it's coming from separation. And one of my favorite lines in the course is when he says, fearful people can be vicious. So if you're around people who are afraid of everything, those are the people who have the potential to be the most vicious people you could ever be around, are people who are fearful and feel guilty and feel unworthy. They're calling for love. They're calling for help. They're calling for you to remember they're powerful beings. They're calling for you to remember that they could give themselves loving thoughts and change the experience that they're going through. It's your job to remember what we're learning for them and to tell yourself the truth when you're around them, and do not join at all with any of the stories that they're telling you about themselves that's coming from the perspective of them being a victim and them being somehow unworthy. Our job is never to share somebody else's negative perception of reality, because it's through sharing is how we create things. So when you share something, then you're creating that for yourself too. So everybody around you can think differently from you, but you must only join with the thoughts that reflect the love of God. And even if you're not feeling it, you go, I want to side with that idea. Even if I can't pull it off yet, I'm going to side with that idea of the police at the door are not going to attack me. See what I'm saying? Even if I still had that fear, I had to side with the idea. So I'm going to answer your question as I complete, because I want everybody to think I'm about finished on time here. So what was that question? You had your hand up.
I think you answered it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you answered it.
Okay. Now, I'm going to stop here because I don't want to rush through this. I want to get this going. What I said today, did it help? Did it make any sense? Mm-hmm. Great. Because I really want people to, my goal is for people who really want to study the Course and they see the Course in Miracles as their path, to realize that I'm 100% committed and focused on supporting you in studying it and practicing it and getting the peace and the results that it gives, because it works, right? So I want to be available to people who are devoted students and people who want to change what they're going through right now, enough to be willing to do what? See things differently, to be willing to see it differently. I love answers that don't involve getting other people's cooperation. Yeah. I swear, to me, that's the easy, because when you think about it, when you think about it, that's kind of like how we slow down, is needing that validation of everybody around us sometimes before we feel like what we're doing is right or okay. Thank you for sharing with me. Thank you for sharing with me. Those of you online, if you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation, I would definitely appreciate that. I'm a full-time teacher of the course, and the course says Holy Spirit's going to take care of you, and it will do it through your actually sharing, doing your function, fulfilling your function. And the course says your function is your happiness. So how can you tell if you're doing the thing that you should be doing? It has to do with how much joy you feel and fulfillment that you feel doing it. If you got a job that you hate going to, you are not on the right job. Or you could say, I could change my thoughts about it, and I could have a totally different experience of my job. You know, I could change my thoughts about my mate, and I could have a totally loving experience of my mate, which is much cheaper than getting a divorce and much cheaper than trying to come up with how we're going to divide profit. And all the solutions that the world gives us about how to handle things, they're always more complicated than what the truth is telling us. And that's not saying if you choose to leave a relationship, you're doing something wrong. It's just saying that you always have the option to look at it differently. And if you feel like you've learned as much as you can learn, then that's perfectly okay for you to release that situation. Because you're not going to block their good, and it's not going to block your good. Because they're not responsible for your happiness anyway. So it's not like if I'm not with you, happiness is not going to come to me. If you're not with me, happiness is not. It doesn't work like that. So you don't have to feel guilty about relationships that you have left behind, as well as you can feel good if you're trying to hang in there and stick it out. The Course says, the Course has one rule. Give up what you don't want and keep what you do want. If you're not ready to let it go yet, don't. If you're ready to let it go, let it go. So, well, should I? I don't know if I should leave. Well, to me, you're saying you need to stay. You're not ready to give it up yet, don't. You're not ready to give it up yet, don't. Well, what about smoking or whatever? Well, you're not going to give it up until you want to. That's all I'm saying. You can try to trap me in some specific ego illusion thing like that, but in the end, it's still going to be you still doing what you want to do and not doing what you don't want to do. So if you smoke again, that's what you want to do. And I'm not judging you, but it's not like you're in between decisions. You did it, so that was what you wanted to do. You know. So now when you're sick, for instance, you will be using sickness to remind you of the truth because you'll be tempted to remember what I said. Right? And you go, okay, I'm sick. Okay, that's me trying to trick myself, trying to make myself think I'm a body. Oh, he did tell me I needed to go ahead and I couldn't heal myself to use external healing methods, so I'm going to go ahead and get it checked out. So I'm going to see that as my symbolic willingness to have this situation handled, and I'm going to try to have loving thoughts about myself while I'm going through this, because it's going to be my loving thoughts that's going to produce the peace and the safety and the joy. So now I don't need to punish myself anymore. I'm not afraid. I've changed my mind, and so that increases the possibility tremendously that I'll experience a physical healing. But if I don't, then that just means that there is still, at some level, there's a part of me that wants to believe I'm a body. So all I got to do is just tell myself that and remind myself I'm innocent, whether it looks like my body gets physically healed or not. Because it's the guilt that caused the problem in the first place. So feeling guilty about being sick just makes the sickness worse. It's better to go, I feel sick, but I know I'm innocent. I feel this way, but the truth about me is that I'm innocent. That's what you do. So those of you who are asking for answers to the stuff that you're going through, that's what we just did today. We gave you some answers. So I'm available for one-on-one sessions. Go to my website, Earl Purdy, www.earlpurdy.com. Got a new website. Also, if you'd like to make donations, you can online. You can go to my website. You can use Venmo, the Cash App, PayPal, Zelle, or Square. All you need is Earl Purdy at earlpurdy.com. That's my email address. It's Earl Purdy at earlpurdy.com. Got a new website. We got some new things I'm going to be introducing. I'm asking for everyone who sees themselves as someone that is my student, and you don't, man, that doesn't mean, that's not ego to say that, but that you see yourself as a student of mine, that the truth comes through me in a way that really resonates. For you, I am here for you. I'm here for everybody, but especially those who see value in the way that this comes through me. And I'm asking you to get in touch. I'm asking you to join with me for our mutual healing so I can take 45 years of looking at this book and working with this book and save you 45 years. That's the way it works. That's the way. The guy that knows how to do transmissions, and I know nothing about transmissions, all that good training he did, thank God he did it for me. So now I can go down there and he'll do it. That's the way I am. It's like I can save you time. I know a lot of the ego's tricks. I know a lot of the things you're going to tell yourself to keep yourself from doing what the Course is saying. And so I can help you catch your ego before it screws you. And by creating some type of drama in your life to make you think that the Course in Miracles doesn't work. There's so many little tricks, but there's also things that'll save you time. And our relationship with each other is saving us time. And that the Course says that's the purpose of a relationship. Don't be in a relationship that delays you. Well, what is a relationship that saves you time? It's a relationship that's reminding you of the truth more often. That is saying you're powerful, you're the creator, you can change the way you see things. So a relationship that's helping you is reminding you that you are innocent and that you're more than a body, and that you're a creator, and that you deserve to be loved. That's someone who's saving you time. Someone that's judging you, condemning you, criticizing you, they are delaying you. And so don't delay yourself with someone who doesn't see your goodness, doesn't see what's good about you and what's beautiful about you, and they're not reminding you of that. That's a person that you're using to take vengeance on yourself. And that's why you can't let them go. I want to punish me. I don't feel worthy. This person is reflecting that back to me. They're giving me the pain that I think I deserve. This is a defense against the truth. I'm trying to convince myself I'm not this beautiful, loving being that this dude is talking about. You see, you hear me? That's the answer. So, want to tell you, listen to this at least 4 times, watch it at least 4 times. I'm available for clarity sessions and astrology and numerology sessions with you. The Spirit will absolutely use whatever your skills are for your awakening. So you don't have to change everything to wake up. Spirit will show you how to use the relationship you're in, the job you're in, whatever situation you're in, Spirit meets you there and then lifts you up. If Spirit doesn't ask you to become something different, then I'll help you. Spirit reaches you right in the middle of your despair as well as your joy. It doesn't go, well, Earl, when you kind of get yourself together here, then I'm going to help you. No, that's what worldly love does. It says you need to earn it before you can receive it. That's the attack thought world. Okay, so I love you. I needed to hear this. It's such a trip how, anyway, it's just I'm getting so many lessons right now. It's blowing